Hey everybody, welcome in. Happy to have you guys here for another Wednesday webinar. Today we're going to do some Q&A, answer your questions, anything you got. We get back to the basics a little bit. Dan, I know a lot of people, a lot of new people in the community, everything like that. So getting back to the basics a little bit.
Absolutely, guys. Welcome in. Excited to be here for another Wednesday webinar. Kick it off here. Do we have a question of the day, Ron? We'll let some people trickle in first, though. And excited to get to it, guys. There's been a lot of momentum in just real estate in general, a lot of optimism in the space, a lot of energy. I feel like it's feels different than last year at this time, for sure. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. Let me get my headphones in so I can hear properly. Give me a second, Dan. It's a good point, though. Hear me okay?
Yep, all good. Hey, Mike and Kathy, welcome back. Nick, Robert Gunn, Samuel, welcome. Michelle, Melissa, welcome in, guys. Excited to be here another week. Like we were saying, what are you guys thinking? Like the overall industry, what's your view on it? If you could rank it, like 1 being the most pessimistic you could be and thinking it's horrible right now in the market, and 10 being like this is the best it's ever been by far. Where do you rank on the scale what you feel, or how do you feel about the market as a whole, real estate, land flipping, all of that?
I like that a lot. Hold on one second. I'm going to put that as question today. I like that question.
It's just like you feel the energy, like the
rate
different than last year at this time. That's for sure.
The quality state of the.
Welcome in, Danny.
And let us know why too. I'm very interested. Rate the quality of the current real estate market.
Yeah, they got it. There's an interest coming in here. We got
scale of 1 to
Melissa
10.
said 7.
Why?
Chelsea said 5.
Oops.
5, 7. And do you guys think 8, 5? A lot of 5s. That's interesting. And do you guys think 6? So 5 to 8's the most. 8's the highest, but some 7s, 5s, 7s. 5, 7 are common here. There's another 6 here. Yeah. And do you guys think that too much uncertainty? There is a lot of uncertainty, but it's a lot of uncertainty with, I think, from what I'm seeing, a lot of uncertainty, but more uncertainty in an optimistic way than it was last year at this time, from what we're seeing. That's just my opinion. No facts or data to back that up, just opinion. 6.
3. Wow.
3, Angela.
It matters. I think it matters if you're comparing to like 2 years ago. Yeah, maybe it's a 3 too. But if you're like, that's why it feels so nice, is because how rough the last 18 months have been. I think
last year I probably would have said 4 at best.
Matters what side you're looking at too. Just the future of the market, owning real estate.
I'm just looking at the whole market and real estate as a whole, really, like just the overall optimism of the market.
I think it's more balanced than it's been in a while. I feel like, where not one side has too much control, in my opinion. I think that's where a healthy real estate market is, where sellers aren't getting offer prices that are 20% above what they're asking, and buyers.
Oh yeah, the realtor markets. So a lot of it hasn't played out in the market. That's why I said optimism. So a lot of optimism hasn't reflected the prices yet. Hasn't reflected a lot. Just talking to realtors, I'm sure there's a handful of realtors in here. And it depends what market you're in, but talking to realtors down here and up home, things have been different the last 12 months. Like things have been what they call rough. A lot of them say it's just been rough, right? Interest rates are high, less buyers out there. Inventory still kind of in shambles, just weird, right? So a lot of optimism you're feeling now, we haven't seen the results, but in 12 months and 6 months, things are going to start to play out. I think I feel good overall, but that's just my opinion.
I think you have a lot of low interest rate people who don't want to sell right now. Like people who are holding 2, 3, 4% interest rates who don't want to sell right now because then they got to buy something new. I think that's why inventory has been a bit low. If the rates kick down another percent and a half, which is kind of substantial, but just there's a lot of people holding 2.5% interest rate loans that just have no interest in moving, even though they have ton of equity in their house.
Things will balance out in the end, we hope.
All right, get your questions.
I was just saying, when I moved down to this area in Tampa, we could hardly find a place to live apartment-wise. Now it's the opposite. These people are begging you to come in. It's just crazy. And that was just like 4 years. It's just crazy how it's flipping and then it balances out. Things just change, right? But what were you going to say?
No, yeah, 100% agree. I remember when you were doing that, going
We had
down
to
there and
bring a
like
check.
different
Back.
areas. Yeah, things aren't selling in 2 days. Like crap houses aren't selling in 2 days for a crazy amount. Like it feels like a very balanced and like sustainable market in my opinion. Like, that's what I like. I don't like when it's too crazy. Like where, like I said before, where buyers have all the momentum or all the if you have money, like that's just a bad market in general. But if sellers have too much power, it becomes really difficult as well, where you have too many buyers per
Yeah.
house essentially. We are seeing longer days on market for land sales. How long a sunset? What are you seeing there? It's a seasonal thing as well with land. Like you don't want to compare right now, which I guess it's February, matters where you are. You don't want to compare February to last fall or something like that. You want to compare year over year when you're doing like how long is something selling for this business? Because comparing this February last February, I would think things would be moving faster, right, Dan?
I would think so, but interest rates still haven't been affected that much, so I don't think we've seen a lot of that change yet, but I think it's coming.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, get your questions, land questions in here. Any questions you guys have? Today's more of a Q&A. We haven't done one of these in a while, Dan. If people have deals to review, I mean, if there's a good looking deal to review, I'll review a deal on this. Kind of open-ended in terms of this, but want to bring as much value to you guys in these 30 minutes as possible. Joel asked, Dan, how fast can a deal happen? This is a good question. We did it a couple weeks ago. We said like how fast you make $10,000 in this business. That was the title. Like if you start, you go on the land portal right now, pull property records, pull a list of property records, 100, 200 property records. You can start texting, you can start cold calling immediately, and you could have a deal by the end of the night. Like that's just the reality of how fast you can get the property records and the data and the phone numbers and everything like that. Like you can make a deal happen by the end of the week, no questions, like no doubt about it. It's just getting the property record list,
Yeah.
and then making the
If
call
you're flipping
contacts. How
land,
we do
average
that?
time to get like if you it's different for everyone in your speed. Average time is probably between 30 to 50 days or so to acquire a deal. That's just average, and that's based off mail a lot of times. We have a lot of people acquiring deals in terms of like getting a property under contract to buy as that the first step. So you negotiate, you get it, you send out your marketing, you get something in contract. Like 30 to 40 days is average. You can do it much quicker if you are texting, cold calling, all that stuff, which a lot of people are doing. So it really depends, but full cycle, you can full cycle a deal fairly quick. If you buy and flip it, it's going to take a little more time. If you double close it, it's going to be a little quicker. So there's options there. So 60, 90 days full cycle to turn a deal from start to finish. That's if you sell it.
A lot of good questions. Everyone's in here for a reason, guys. If you guys have a question, anything, if you guys are brand new, never heard of this, what is land flipping? I don't care about answering that. Like any question, we're more than happy to answer, guys. Can you use Google Voice to call and text when just starting out? I don't think Google Voice text, Dan. I could be
I don't
wrong,
know.
though.
I use Google Voice is very, very basic. I used to use it for when I first had my first business. Super basic. I don't know the capabilities it has now. I haven't used it. There was not much sophisticated tech behind it from when I used it, but I'm not up to speed with what they're doing.
Open phone's like $20 a month. Like as far as a cheap, it might be less than that, honestly, for the base. I would do something like open phone over Google Voice. I don't think you can I could be completely wrong, guys, and tell me if I'm wrong. But I didn't think you could text over. I really like open phone. They have a good app. Like I'm very,
Yeah, and
very
someone
happy
said
with it.
hard to find workers right now. Yeah, contractors, workers. Ron, down here, I haven't told you this. I don't think they are. ICE is everywhere going through these neighborhoods, looking for illegal immigrants. Essentially, ICE is everywhere, and these people are hiding.
Really?
So my friend is vice president of a big contracting group down here for roofs and things like that, and he has contractors that say they won't go to Fort Myers, they won't go to these areas because how many ICE people are down there looking for them, and they just won't accept the job right now because the risk of being caught and deported. It's a real thing right now. It's crazy. So it's definitely affecting the labor market.
Really? That makes a lot of sense. Hold on one second, getting these questions in there. Tony, can you email support at landinvestingonline.com? I thought you were a member for a second. You're not. You had a call with Jake, I think, the other day, right? But email support at landinvestingonline.com, or you can message me on. Oh, you can't message me on Discord. Email that. We'll get you the link to the Discord. All right, cool. So Google Voice. Someone
Google
said
Voice
you
for
can
6
text
years. Yeah,
on there.
Mike
I'm
and
not
Kathy. Good.
aware of it. How are mortgage rates affecting the end buyers? What is the breakdown your buyers and your members buyers with mortgage, bank financing, or cash? Cash is still, I mean, with our price range that we're selling, like when we start doing, I mean, even we just sold a 700, maybe $825,000 property for cash. Like there are, if people find deals, like we bought for 450, sold for 825, and it was 825 cash. So it's a high percentage of cash still overall.
Crazy.
I don't see mortgage rates affecting land as much as houses because
land is a cash business. It's harder to get loans on. Loans are more expensive, harder to qualify because it's harder to evaluate for these banks too. So there are like Ag Georgia, Ag Florida. There are land banks, but for a lot of our purchases or sales are $50,000. A lot of people would just do cash transactions on land. There's a lot of experienced people in here though. I see Ravi and Mike and Kathy. What's your percentage of selling cash versus a bank loan? And that's where guys, if you guys are interested in seller financing and capturing some of that interest and selling it to these people who can't get a loan essentially because land's hard to get a loan on, so that's not abnormal. That's where seller financing comes in, and you become the bank for them and collect the notes, get a down payment 20%, 30%, and then take 12% interest or whatever it's at right now. The $825,000 deal we sold a couple of weeks ago, I think it went through. Worked on that one for a while. Maybe held it for 4 months.
60, 80, 60, 80
it's like 80
acres.
acres or so. Oh, nice area in Georgia. Very nice. Big land, good subdivide opportunity. We didn't subdivide, but just because the opportunity there, the end buyer this is actually kind of interesting. The end buyer was a businessman. He was a farmer. He had chicken coops. He was looking to take this land and put more chicken coops on it. He had good ties, and so you needed approval for subdivisions. He felt confident he could get approval for chicken coop to change the zoning and to subdivide it off. So he bought it from us as one and did probably what we could have done and subdivided off another section. He sold like half of it up front and recapped almost, a good portion of his money.
Yeah, I think we probably could have got $1 million for it.
More than that, 1.3, 1.4, but we sold it fast and didn't put in much work.
I don't think so, but maybe. But it also was a longer approval process, like you said. Zach P, I think Pilgreen, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. How many mailers are you sending per deal? No, it's a question we get so much. And I had a coaching call with someone earlier today, and the amount of mailers per deal is so variant, and it's such a common question, which is fine. It's so variant to what you're going after. Like we don't go after anything that's not a 6-figure deal at this second, just because our strategies. It just varies. Like when we send marketing or something like that, I don't care about our return in terms of how many mailers. I don't think about it because what we're going after, subdivides, big deals, everything like that. So if you're going after $100,000, $2,000 deals, you're going to get a lot of deals per mailer. The middle ground is still that 2,000 mailer range. I know there's been a lot of different strategies. It matters what strategies. If you're handwriting, and that the handwriting thing has gotten really hot, Dan, in our community.
Yeah.
Like really hot. Which is awesome. Like I'm all for it, but you gotta weigh the time you're putting in
and money.
Things. Like you really, really do. Or
these are $10,000 equipment. So what Ron's talking about, people are buying printers, sophisticated printers that have a pen. I saw a video. So Nick's doing it, Kay's doing it. We had these people interviewed and they talk about it. And a pen sticks down and it's typing around and it's writing handwritten. It looks good. It looks like nice writing. It looks like personal writing. It has literally like a normal pen in it. And few things to factor in when doing that. So you might get 4x the rate of return in terms of deals per mail, which is great. I would do it all day. That's a really good return. But it costs more. You have equipment maintenance. You're sending them out yourself. You have this working at your house. It's a business. It's a whole business. It's a whole nother side of the business to tackle. So if you wanted to be more efficient, you can go that route for sure. It's going to cost more money to set it up, and you're going to have more time, labor, and everything else that's involved. So that's also, don't only look at the results per mailer, because it matters what mailer you're doing. They're getting, so Nick said he got, I'm gonna pull up the Discord so I don't misquote anything. So he sent 1,000 out. So he sent 485 out first and got 2 deals. And I think he sent another 1,000 out and it's looking like he's going to get more than that. So it could be a deal per every few hundred. I mean, these are handwritten letters. He's putting them in. He did a Valentine's Day one where he put them in red cards with a heart on them. handwritten. People aren't not going to open that.
It's
Those are going to
marketing
have
business.
100% open rate. So those are things that like, you know what I mean? But it's a lot of time, it's a lot of work, but he is making money. So it's worth it if you're willing to put in the
Yeah,
work.
I love it. All right, let me just make sure I have these real fast. I'm thinking, all right, good questions, guys. Really good questions. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Don't answer that yet. Sorry, I'll get to that in a second, John. Luke, I think it was Luke. Luke Michael Scott, maybe it was. Who are you meeting with for one? And yeah, you should get that. Let me know who you're meeting with tomorrow. What is the current political climate? Do you think mass deportation will affect the land flipping business?
Who
I don't
knows
think
what
so.
it's going to affect? It's a real thing.
Yeah, I mean it could. I have no clue, but I don't see it unless it affects the
It
entire
will
economy, which it
will
could.
affect the
How do
contracting business for
foreclosure
sure.
Subco asks, how do foreclosures / like tax lien sales work? Yeah, so when a property is foreclosed on, the county puts it up for auction essentially. So some counties have online auctions, some counties have in-person auctions. It just depends. You can probably call the county and ask how they do their tax sale auctions, that kind of stuff. You can probably find it online.
Yeah, if you guys are enjoying this and enjoying this Q&A, we got a lot of time here left, so stick with us. But hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's try to boost this and get more people in and spread the mission and help more people out, help more people make more money.
All right, cool. Awesome. Ravi asked how do you make sure you don't spend too much money sending mail on one county than other when you are just starting mail as a beginner?
That's a good question.
I mean, just do a lower acreage range. You're going to have better results with lower acres. Do 2 to 10 acres or something like that, where you're not targeting the bigger. Like it just matters. Don't do over 2,000 mailers. Try to stick under 2,000 mailers. 1,800, 2,200 mailers per county. So if something goes wrong, it's not all that costly. Good question. All right. I saved $6,500 for marketing. How would you advise I use this money? So really good question. Money is one part of the equation. The other part of the equation is how much time do you have? If you have all the time in the world, like you can be more efficient with your marketing. You can send text. I love text, like text and cold call and all these things. $6,500 is a solid. Make sure you know how to do the business. Like if you have a course or education, make sure you look into that if you haven't already, because you're in a really, really good spot. But texting, direct mail, don't do too much direct mail. Do a combination of direct mail and texting. What we like to do is direct mail with text follow-ups. That's going to get you the best return that we've seen. If you have less time, you can also, or if you have a good amount of time available.
Yeah, 6,500 can get you a long way depending on how you use it. I mean, you can get a texting subscription and skip trace your property records and get your property records and get a ton. That money can go a far way. Mail is where mail eats your money very, very fast. It's efficient. It's still effective. There's ways to make it more effective, of course, but in general, 6,500 can go a far way if you spend it in the right areas.
Zach, I talked to someone, I don't know what quality printer they got yesterday, who had I don't think it was a handwriting printer. They got a high quality printer that could do 50,000 per month, I think is what it was. But I think that was like 20. The printer is more money. Handwriting is going to take I can't imagine. I don't know how many you're going to get.
That's Nick would know that. So I'll ask him after this in our members call
with the machine.
So what's 50,000 divided by 30?
That's just for a printer.
So
that's a high industrial type printer. Yeah.
It seems low. 1,600 a day. How many minutes are in a day? 60 times 24.
60 times 24.
So about 1 a minute. Okay. That makes sense.
All right. Let me get back to where I was. Give me a second. Good question, though. Franchise music in terms of that $6,500 budget, really good spot to start in. Are you interested in dealing with a Georgia land wholesaler that's focused on large land subdivide? Yeah, if you find good deals, submit it to landinvestingonline.com/deal funding.
Georgia deals are great. We know a lot in Georgia. We do a lot in Georgia.
I'm thinking about moving to Mexico. Do you think I can do this business from there? 100%. There's people doing this, a lot of people doing this overseas. Canada, there's quite a few. I talked to someone this morning. I asked him where he was. He's like, yeah, I talked to him at 10 a.m. Eastern. He said it was 10 p.m. So I didn't hear where he said he was from. Yeah, he was 12 hours ahead. So it's just some adjustments, some business changes. But the time zone change, I think, is the biggest, which you don't really have to deal with Mexico. If you don't have much capital to start, what is the best way to start? Much capital. What is
don't have much capital. What is the best way to start? Cold calling. Try to get a deal under contract and find funding for it. So cold call, you try to get good land under contract at a good price. That's the number one thing. That's a skill, though. That's going to take time. You're going to have to understand how to offer and negotiate on the phones. Cold calling is the number one way to get it. But if you understand good deals and understand how to qualify a seller and disqualify a seller fast, are they interested in selling or are they pulling my teeth? Is it good land or is it bad land? How much is this land worth? Once you can answer those questions efficiently and effectively, cold calling can be extremely effective. So it's all about, you're going to spend a lot of time doing it and figuring it out, but cold calling is the most cost efficient. Texting's not, too much money either. You need a couple $1,000 for sure, though.
We've done a YouTube live on or starting this business with $100 or something, like where you can like put $100 into this business a month. Like, it's not a ton, obviously, and you can scale up from there, but eventually you will get a deal if you stay consistent, contact people every single month. You will get a deal and you can make this business work.
If you have more experience, the easiest way to get deals is, so we're getting MLS data on the land portal right now. So one way to get a deal, if you guys are more experienced, who is the most likely person to sell their land in the markets, Ron? Who's the most likely type of person to sell their property that we have access to and know for sure? No, that's some ways. Tax delinquent, that's other answers that I would expect. People who already have it listed for sale, right? They're very close to selling. Yeah. They're already committed. So using the land portal now with the MLS features, you can target the road frontage. So I can say I want 2,000 feet of road frontage. I want it to be on the market, MLS. And I want it to be between this acreage and this acreage, 30 acres to 100 acres. And you can find those MLS deals that are already listed that have the room for the subdivides. So essentially you can buy it on the market for almost market value, 80%, 90% of what it's listed for, subdivide it up because you have that road frontage if as long as the county allows it, and then resell it and make money. That's like that's personally what I would focus on if I was coming straight in this. Because it's just like there's so much room, there's so much margin in these deals, and going after on-market deals where you don't need to have as much acquisition channel. You can get one deal per every 5 offers rather than one per every, you're buying it at a higher price. It's a little bit risky. You need to know what you're doing with subdivides, but the money's there and the acquisition's so much easier.
Mm-hmm. I talked to someone yesterday who his business in houses was double closing deals on the market. So he was basically getting under contract with these realtors and then making money selling on the back end. Gary said, can't cold call or text according to new directive. What is that new directive, Gary? I'm not familiar with that. All right, cool. What about the envelope? Mike and Kathy asked, do you have any reason why the typical double window envelope does not? I think it just looks like I don't know. It looks like it's coming from a bank, or like, it looks like something that should be thrown in the trash. Versus you get a handwritten looking thing. Those are not going in the trash ever, because those are not coming from companies more times than not. That half the battle to this business is getting someone to open your
exactly.
letter.
So it's not that it's not working. It's less efficient. Because why is it less efficient? Is because their eyes are used to seeing stuff like that. So when you open your mail, put yourself in the perspective that, what are you looking for if something's important or not? Because I throw out half my mail. So anytime you open mail and you take that envelope out of your mailbox and you have all these pile and you put it down and you're looking through what's important or not, think of that in your head and say, how can I make my letters feel more important, my envelopes feel more important, and kind of work backwards from there. He said it was overturned. So to Gary's question, Marco said it was overturned on the 26th of the no cold calling, no texting law.
If you have equipment and resources, this is actually a really good question. I'm actually, give me a second, Luke. All right. How do you figure out an offer price so you're making profit on a new construction build? How do you figure out how to offer a purchase price so you're also making profit on a new? We don't really do much we don't do new construction builds. As far as like figuring out an offer price to offer for a piece of land, like you want to find recent comps, sold comps. So if everything's selling half an acre is selling for $50,000 consistently in the area, your margin is selling under that essentially. So we're trying to buy for $25,000, $30,000, sell for
Yeah,
$50,000,
but she's talking about,
$60,000.
so if you were building, that's not we're not building from ground up.
Yeah, I
Yes,
don't want to talk out
exactly.
our ass.
Rule of thumb is what percent, Ron, of market value for the dirt? What are builders looking to pay up to for raw dirt? It used to be
I don't know.
Used to be
I've heard
around
25.
20% was
I've
like the
heard,
rule of thumb. It changes market by market and how expensive the houses are, but 20%.
I've never liked
No,
that
it's not a
rule as
great
a
rule,
whole,
but that's
though.
like kind of rule of thumb. I've talked to builders who said that too. It's always around. I mean, the cheaper you
Interesting.
can get it, the most. But like a lot of these building companies, like
So Amelia, if a house is going for $1 million in that area, Dan's saying that builders will sometimes pay 200,000. Like as a general rule of thumb, it's you still need to look at
yeah, you
comps
don't
though,
want
as
to
far as
overpay.
land
But there's a
comps.
lot of builders who will say, I will buy. They'll go like infill lot people. They'll go to the builders and ask what they're going to pay, and a lot of times based on the subdivisions, it's what they can build for, and they know the math behind that.
What platform do I use to find the deals? We use the landportal.com. You can go to Zillow and try to find things and call people that's on market deals. All these other sites that try to like give you list of deals are not like, you want to find the best way to get the best deals is find off market motivated sellers. The land portal is what we use, the landportal.com. There's a free 14-day trial in the description if you want to try that out. You can get property records, a list of 100 property records, start cold calling them, and then go from there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right. One of the last questions here. Luke asked, if you have equipment and resources, would it be worth trouble of building easements on subdivides, or would it not be worth the trouble? It's great. But the only problem, so Luke's saying essentially I think he's saying like you don't have enough road access to like subdivide a ton. Maybe he's not saying that. Maybe he's saying building driveways. So I'm going to answer what I first viewed it as, Luke, first. So a lot of counties, like if you're trying to subdivide off of easements, they don't let you. It's pretty uncommon for a minor subdivide to be allowed as far as building off easements. If you're talking about building driveways, that's definitely a value add. You just got to make sure that your ROI is correct.
Yeah, that can be great. Like if you can have an improvement of an easement and build out a driveway and it didn't have it before, that's a massive value add. So you can get the property cheaper because they know they don't have physical access, and then you build the access out. That's a huge value add. Absolutely. Do you need to do it yourself? No. Could you? You could. It's going to take time, obviously. So it's whether you want to. I call contractors and do it for $5,000 or $10,000 or 20, depending on all the details, obviously.
All right, again, get through a couple more quickly. Do you have a virtual mailbox in every market, every out-of-state market? No, we do not. Nick said he's getting a St. Patty's Day mailers ready. Love that.
Ravi had a good question too. Fraudulent sellers.
All right, let me get Robbie's question real fast. How do you make sure that you don't encounter fraudulent sellers who pretend to be the owner of the property? I heard somebody's podcast where they said a lot of fraudulent sellers pretend to be owners. Use title companies.
Also talk about why they were saying that. Where did those leads come from, Ron?
Oh, you're always quizzing me today. What are you talking about?
What kind of leads were those that were doing that? No?
They on market?
PPC. PPC.
Oh, it's the ads.
So anyone can see them. They're going to fake
right.
be someone's name. So this was advertisement, like paid per click. So showing up on Google, showing up on Facebook, these ads, I buy 100 acres. That's how they were getting scammed. And then they used title companies to figure out that was a scammer, right? To avoid that, you don't do PPC and advertisements because then what you do is buy data from places, buy property records from places like the land portal. And then that's clean records you're sending the mail to that person's address. It's much, much less likely to happen. Those were ads to everybody.
Yep. Appreciate Nick, you answering a couple of those questions we didn't get to, guys. Yeah, Facebook's a great spot to sell land. Sorry. If you guys, I think, what links do we have down there? Are you in it, Dan? We have a free 14-day trial to the land portal. That's where you can get all the property records. You get property records on land portal. Like the first step to getting a land deal is getting a list of property records. And that's what that will do for you. Contact them. I don't care how you contact them. Mail, text, cold call, email, ringless voicemail. There's so many different ways. Like this is a marketing business, but first you got to get your list, contact people, try to buy under market value, and then dispose of the property. That's the business as a whole. I think there's a consultation link in there as well, Dan, if you guys are interested.